Right now, there are about 1.47 million unsold homes sitting on the market in America. That's the most homes sitting unsold for this time of year since 2019. Builders are cutting prices. They're throwing in free upgrades. Some are even paying thousands of dollars just to buy down your mortgage rate, so you'll say yes. And yet, at the exact same time, a company selling 400 square foot houses, homes smaller than most people's living rooms, has a waiting list that's 8 months long. Think about that for a second. Massive, move-in ready, beautifully finished homes are sitting empty. Meanwhile, houses you could practically fit inside a 2-car garage are selling out before construction even finishes. That's not a coincidence. That's not a fluke. That's a full-blown shift in how an entire generation thinks about owning a home. And once you understand the numbers behind it, you'll start seeing this trend everywhere. Before we dig into why this is happening, do me a favor. If you like videos that break down what's really going on behind the headlines, the economy, real estate, the stuff that actually affects your wallet, hit that subscribe button right now because this channel is exactly that. Okay, let's get into it. Section 1. The Big House Problem. 115. Let's start with the traditional housing market, because honestly, the numbers here are a little brutal. As of April 2026, there were roughly 1.47 million unsold homes on the market nationwide, the highest inventory for that month since 2019. And this isn't just old, outdated resale homes nobody wants. Brand new, freshly built homes are piling up too. Unsold new home inventory has jumped 54% over just the last couple of years, and it now sits at around 127,000 completed empty units. That's the highest that number has been since 2009, right in the aftermath of the housing crash. So builders are sitting on a mountain of finished homes with nobody moving in, and they're getting desperate. Many are now offering to buy down buyers' mortgage rates by a full percentage point or more just to get somebody, anybody, to sign. So why aren't people buying? It really comes down to two brutal numbers colliding. Number one, the median home price in the U.S. hit an all-time high this year, sitting north of $440,000. Number two, mortgage rates are stuck stubbornly in the 6% range, and they've barely budged despite everyone hoping for relief. Put those two together, and the monthly payment on a typical home is simply out of reach for a massive share of the population, especially first-time buyers who don't have existing equity to lean on. Then there's something economists call the lock-in effect, and it's quietly strangling the resale market. Nearly 70% of people who already own a home locked in a mortgage rate below 5% before rates shot up. If they sell their current place and buy something else now, their monthly payment could jump by hundreds of dollars overnight, even if the new house isn't any bigger or nicer. So a lot of these homeowners are simply staying put, not because they love their current house, but because moving is a financial punishment. The ripple effect: fewer homes hit the resale market in the first place, and the ones that do sit there for longer than they used to. Homes are now spending an average of 64 days on the market before selling, and that number has been climbing for 20 straight months. Big homes, in short, aren't just expensive right now. They're stuck. Buyers can't afford them, and sellers can't afford to give up what they already have. Now here's where the story flips completely. While that $500,000 house down the street collects dust, a totally different corner of the housing world is absolutely booming. Tiny houses, we're talking homes under 500 square feet, sometimes as small as 130, are being built, sold, and moved on a land faster than manufacturers can keep up with demand. Some builders have scaled their production from roughly 40 units a year to more than 75, just trying to catch up. Waiting lists stretching anywhere from 3 to 8 months have become completely normal in this industry. Not the exception, but the standard. So why the frenzy? Because the price tag tells a completely different story than the one we just walked through. Depending on the builder, the size, and the finishes, a tiny house typically runs somewhere between $30,000 and $100,000. And some of the most basic models come in even lower than that. That's not a down payment. In a lot of cases, that's the entire cost of the house, no 30-year mortgage required. Now, put the two pictures side by side. On one hand, a $440,000 home, a mortgage rate above 6%, decades of payments, and a monthly bill that eats a huge chunk of the average paycheck. On the other hand, a house that a buyer can potentially pay off in cash, place on a piece of land, and own completely, free and clear, with zero interest and zero long-term debt hanging over their head. When you frame it that way, it's honestly not much of a mystery why tiny homes are selling out while mansions sit empty. It's not some quirky lifestyle trend. It's simple math, and people are following it. But here's the twist that most people get wrong about this trend. If you think it's purely a last resort for people who can't afford anything else story, you're only seeing half the picture. Two very different groups of buyers are fueling this demand, and neither of them fits the stereotype of someone who's broke. The first group is downsizers, typically aged 55 and older. These are homeowners sitting on a mountain of equity built up over decades in a big house they genuinely don't need anymore. Kids are grown and gone. Property taxes keep climbing. Utility bills on rooms that never get used start to feel pointless. For this group, a tiny home isn't a financial sacrifice. It's a calculated move. Sell the big house, buy the tiny one outright in cash, and walk away with a substantial chunk of money in the bank, completely debt-free for the rest of their lives. The second group is remote workers, with roughly 28% of full-time U.S. employees still working remotely. Location no longer has to revolve around a daily commute to an office. That single shift has quietly unlocked a massive amount of cheap rural land, often available for a fraction of what a comparable suburban lot would cost. A tiny home can be dropped onto that land, hooked up to high-speed internet, and suddenly you've got a fully functional home office with a mortgage-free roof over your head and zero interest payments eating into your income. So on one end, you've got retirees looking to simplify their lives and cash out. On the other, you've got younger professionals looking to escape sky-high rent and unaffordable starter homes. Two completely different life stages, two completely different motivations, meeting in the exact same place. A house smaller than most people's living rooms. Here's something most people genuinely don't realize about this space. Tiny homes in 2026 are nothing like the rustic little wooden boxes you might be picturing from a decade ago. Companies are now building tiny homes packed with fully integrated smart technology, units that manage their own heating, lighting, and security automatically, with modular, expandable designs that can literally grow along with a family's changing needs. Some of these tech-forward models have pulled in hundreds of pre-orders before a single unit was even delivered, which tells you just how much appetite there is for this next generation of small space living. Builders have also dramatically compressed their production timelines. Some companies have cut their build times from 10 weeks down to just 4, simply by standardizing their most popular floor plans instead of custom building every single order from scratch. That means shorter waits, lower cost per unit, and a much faster turnaround for buyers who don't want to sit around for a year watching their future home slowly come together. One example that shows just how far this has come. A company building 400 square foot AI-integrated smart homes priced around $98,000 has already racked up over 300 pre-orders, with deliveries rolling out through the back half of 2026. These aren't rustic cabins. They're expandable, app-controlled, climate-managed living spaces that happen to be small. That's a very different sales pitch than tiny house used to conjure up in most people's minds. In other words, tiny no longer means cheap-looking or bare bones. It means efficient, modern, and increasingly high-tech. And that's a completely different pitch to a completely different kind of buyer than the tiny house movement was selling even 5 years ago. Now, before you go selling your house tonight and ordering a tiny home off the internet, there is a catch, and it's a big one. Zoning laws. Roughly 40% of urban municipalities still have regulations on the books that make it difficult, or in some cases flat out illegal, to place a tiny home somewhere permanently. Some cities legally classify tiny homes on wheels the same way they classify RVs, meaning you technically can't live in one full-time, even if you own it outright. Other municipalities require a minimum square footage for any residential structure, a minimum that a lot of tiny homes simply don't meet no matter how well built they are. This is, without question, the single biggest bottleneck holding this entire movement back from growing even faster than it already is. Builders can crank out homes as quickly as their factories allow, but if there's nowhere legal to actually put them, buyers hit a wall no amount of demand can break through. The good news is that this is slowly starting to change. A number of states, particularly on the West Coast, have begun updating their zoning codes to formally allow tiny homes as accessory dwelling units. essentially permitting a small second home to sit legally in someone's backyard. As more cities and counties catch on to the demand, and as the tax revenue and housing affordability benefits become harder to ignore, expect this bottleneck to loosen even further over the next few years. And here's the part that makes the big house slowdown even more striking. This isn't just about homes sitting unsold. It's about a genuine imbalance between who wants to sell and who's actually able to buy. At the end of last year, real estate data from Redfin found there were over 600,000 more sellers than buyers in the U.S. housing market, a 47% disparity that marked an all-time high in records going back to 2013. That gap didn't shrink either. It grew nearly 7% in just 1 month. Meanwhile, the total number of active buyers actually fell by almost 6%, dropping to the lowest level in over a decade. Picture a room with way more people trying to sell something than people trying to buy it. That's the traditional housing market in a nutshell right now. And it's exactly why price growth on big homes has essentially flatlined nationally, even while the median price still technically sits at a record high. Now compare that to the tiny house side of the equation, where the imbalance runs in the completely opposite direction. Far more demand than supply, wait lists stretching months, and manufacturers scrambling to build faster. Same country, same economy, same year, two housing markets moving in totally opposite directions. So let's zoom all the way out for a second. What we're really watching here isn't just a quirky little housing fad that'll fade away in a year or two. It's a symptom of something much bigger happening underneath the surface of the entire housing market. The traditional housing ladder, buy a starter home, upgrade to a bigger home, eventually land in your forever home, is quietly breaking down for a huge number of people. When the median home costs roughly 10 times what the median tiny home costs, and mortgage rates make monthly payments genuinely brutal for the average buyer, people don't just give up on the dream of owning something. They redefine what home actually means to them. Big houses sitting unsold for months on end isn't proof that people have stopped wanting a place to call their own. It's proof that people increasingly can't afford that particular kind of housing anymore. And instead of waiting around for the market to fix itself, they're voting with their wallets for something smaller, cheaper, and completely debt-free. Whether this trend keeps accelerating from here depends heavily on two things: where mortgage rates head next, and how quickly more cities update their zoning laws to keep up with demand. But right now, in 2026, the data tells a pretty clear story. While the traditional housing market sits frozen under the weight of high prices and high rates, the tiny house market just keeps moving, one waiting list at a time. So here's my question for you. Would you ever trade a 2,000 square foot house for a 400 square foot one, if it meant owning it outright with zero mortgage attached? Drop your honest answer in the comments below, because I genuinely want to know, and I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this kind of deep dive into the economics behind everyday trends, the stuff hiding in plain sight that most people never stop to question, make sure you're subscribed because there's a lot more of this coming. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.